Well, we're back.
We are back,
Yeah.
and it's nice to be talking about women again.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
We know a little bit about them.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're continuing on with we talked about Mary, Mother of Jesus at the cross this last time, and now just moving on to Jesus' resurrection. The hope that's on the other side of
Yeah.
it. Um, and we look at all these gospels, the four gospels,
Yeah.
and we see different perspectives
Yeah.
and different accounts in that those little details kind of vary, but we get the important part of it. We get
Yeah.
that there were women at the tomb. We get that, Jesus rose from the dead. We get that, the disciples, all of that jazz.
And many of them followed Jesus to the cross.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so important that we recognize that that there are those differences, but that's what makes it reliable.
Yeah.
Because were written and by the names of these gospels, and so they had spent time researching, getting interviews from different people, and it's over a few different, couple decades that we have that they've written it. And so, and they get all of this eyewitness accounts from those that were there.
So, just as a thought, I used to talk to my students about it because you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And if we had an incident, all three of us ladies sitting here, if something happened in front of us, there's something that I would catch because I'm a teacher. You would catch me because you're a teacher and a pastor's wife, or you work with youth, or you work with children.
Yes.
And Betty's a nurse.
Yeah.
So she's going to look at it like Luke did, right? Because wasn't it Luke that was a physician?
Yeah.
So some people are going to look at minute details, the whole picture, and not bring in the details. So that's what's really cool about being able to kind of go through those all at the same time. So it's not like that anybody didn't catch something. It's what they thought was important.
Yeah, and it's always like the perspective that you're coming from with it, and like you said, the important details that you think are important at the time, those things that you catch through your eyes, because we don't remember every little detail about every single part of our lives.
Right.
And that is a beautiful thing because and that's something that a couple different famous detectives have pointed that out, and realize that even in law, as they're working through all of these cases, that those true stories are the ones that have slight differences to them, if they're looking at different
They're not
witnesses.
Not the same.
Otherwise, you're getting together, you're corroborating the story.
Exactly.
If it's all the same, it's like, okay, that's
Yeah.
somebody's gonna think that this detail is more important than the other. And so we have like famous J. Warner Wallace, and he's written a lot of books. And even Wes Huff, who was actually wanted to be a police detective, so he started going to school. He never did, but so we have those analytical minds realizing that it's important that these gospels had slight differences.
Yeah. And I think about, you remember the game? Have you ever played the game when you put stuff out on a platter? You go to a shower, you go to a baby shower, and there's all these little things on a tray. And then you pass them all around. Everybody gets so much time to look at it, and then you put it away. And then you have to write down exactly what was on the tray. Rarely did anybody get all of them.
Yeah.
And they were all different answers. And I kind of equate it to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And with the account of the women going to the tomb, all of them agreed that it was morning. They went to the tomb in the morning, and there was at least two women mentioned. The cool thing is that no writer of the gospel says that there was only two women, or there were only these women.
Yeah.
It's just they
Who
focused on who it was.
Yeah.
That's right.
So let's throw out one of the women.
Yeah.
Throw them out, Betty.
Well, the one that I've seem to focus on a lot was one that was mentioned like 14 times across all four gospels. And that's extraordinary by any account for any biblical character being mentioned that much,
Yeah.
especially a woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because again, women were looked were second class citizens, I'll say.
Yeah.
But these women, you know, the one in particular was Mary Magdalene. She came from her hometown, Magdala, and that's how she got
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene. And
Yeah.
a lot of times that's where people, they would say like Mary of Nazareth,
Mhm.
Jesus's mother, where they came from. That would be how they were identified.
Yes.
So she was Mary Magdalene. And I particularly was interested in her because there were supposedly, they were saying that there have been studies or people that looked into her that said, oh, they thought she was a harlot.
Yeah.
But nowhere in the Bible does it say that. And we know that the Bible calls Rahab the prostitute.
Yes.
You never hear them saying Mary Magdalene the prostitute. They just said that she had 7 evil spirits in her,
Yeah.
and 7 is the number of completion. So she was like totally filled with these demons for whatever reason and whatever they were doing. And when she came across Jesus, he just spoke a word and they were gone. So that's an amazing thing that, of course, if you're suffering in pain and somebody says a word, you're going to be owing him your life, grateful.
Yeah.
What can I do for you? And that's
Oh, yeah.
how Mary Magdalene was. She was there not because, you know, that, yeah, he did different things, but for her, he was everything to her.
Yeah. He gave her a new life.
He did.
Yeah.
And you think about, she was not named a prostitute. Like you said, I'm trying to think, I got John 38 marked in here is where I kind of was reading about her. And let's see if that's, John 20. What did I just say? I don't think I said that, but John 20, 11 through 18, maybe. Mary Magdalene came and told the disciples that she had seen the Lord. You know what? Have you ever heard the fact that when someone is saved, when they're saved from a lot, how does that saying go? It's like when you've been forgiven a lot, you give a lot. Something. I can't think of how that
Yeah.
works, but I can't think of how that's saying. Maybe it'll pop in my head. But you know, she had no life.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, she had demons in her, and so she probably couldn't even support herself. She didn't have a husband because, of course,
That's right. There was no mention of husband or
there. I
children.
mean, she probably did something on the streets to get food and maybe shelter, or
Yeah.
I don't know. So
We don't know because it's
she-
not.
it's
Some
not
said
that.
in the-
It's not explicit.
Right.
What's so cool is that she followed him, and she's meant, like you said, she's mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
So when you've been forgiven much, you give much.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good anyway. I don't know, but so I think that has to do with her
Yeah.
and why she was so faithful.
Yeah, and I think with what you were saying with John 20, 11 through 18 is the
Yeah.
account that Jesus is appearing specifically to Mary Magdalene.
Mhm.
And this may have been just them too, and I would think so. But then he appeared to the other woman at a different time.
Mhm.
But you know, he appears and she thinks he's this gardener and probably looking at him through
Tearful eyes.
tearful eyes, yeah.
Blurry eyes.
And it's just like, do you know what they've done with my Lord? And like he's just very patient with her, and like you know, it's finally realized that is Jesus, that is her risen Lord, and she is so grateful and thankful with that. And then he says, "Don't think that you know you have sense." And so he then tells her to call my brothers, you know,
Yes.
and
He talked to a woman first.
That's right. That's the big thing. The first
And really, I mean, I'm not discrediting men. Please don't get me
No,
wrong.
it's not.
But that was at a time, I think, we think it's important because it was at a time when women were not counted,
Yes.
you know, for much. I mean, they were paid. I mean, they were given, parents were given money for their
Yes.
A dowry.
dowry or vice versa. I don't know who gave the money, but
Yes.
you know,
There was an exchange.
there was an exchange of
Money.
goods.
Something.
Yeah, something. And so I think to know that he valued Mary Magdalene,
Yes.
and maybe that was, yeah, I mean, yeah,
I mean, yeah,
because she continued throughout, like you said, 14 times she's mentioned in the Bible. So,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
And that's the argument of like if the writers and if this our religion was to do more quote unquote believe, like why wouldn't you have men be the ones and
That's
I
right.
was like no women are just as important.
mhm.
And nobody's gonna lie about having the women be the first to go be the Lord.
And,
Yeah, yeah.
and he, like he said, woman, just one word again.
Yeah,
And then it was like, why are you crying? And he knows, and that's not just for Mary Magdalene, he knows us as women, why we cry.
Yes.
that's
He knows,
interesting.
he knows our whole self because he created us, but
Yeah.
it's just like we feel things differently than men do,
Yes.
and we cry sometimes, and I cry in the shower because at least nobody
Yeah.
can hear me, especially when my kids were little, and I'd be exhausted, and and you're just trying to do so much work and take care of a family.
Yeah.
But and that's why when she was crying, maybe she couldn't see through her tears, but maybe he also didn't want her
That's right.
to see. And then all he said was one word, Mary.
Mhm.
And the sheep know my voice.
Yeah.
She knew his voice by the one word saying her name.
Her name.
And in medical hospital, if you have somebody who is in a coma, we were always taught as nurses, you talk to them because
Yeah.
hearing is the last sense to go.
Mm.
So even though she was, her mind was, I can't believe this happening and I'm crying, and, he says the one word,
Yeah.
her name,
Yeah.
and she knew it.
I
She
know.
knew it was him. And that's just amazing to
I
me.
did, and I had not caught that because really, first she says woman, and then he asked her a question, and then she's like, it's just the gardener, and then he says Mary, and she turned herself and then said. So that's kind of cool. I hadn't caught that, so that's what's so fun about the Bible.
Yeah.
No matter how many times you read something, there's an opportunity to really see something and understand it. Yeah.
You know how you want to say your name.
Name.
And
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah, and it's like oh, wow, this
Yep.
this is my reward that I love.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, there is more than resurrection everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lots of Marys we talked about. I don't know if you want to go down through the list and then you can grab somebody. But Mary of Bethany,
Right.
which was the sister of Martha and sister of Lazarus. Mary, she was one, mom of James and what was his James and John? Is that John? Okay, and then of course Mary, mother of John Mark, and I don't know if Barnabas. I think Barnabas was a friend of Mark, John Mark's, which ended up cutting it short and saying Mark. Okay, so there's some more verses on there. We can share them with you. Then we had the mother of Jesus, and then of course, let's see. Let me flip my page. Did you have another Mary?
Yeah, Mary, wife of Cleopas.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Who was and Cleopas was the one that where did I write it down? That he worked as I'll say the main caretaker or the bookkeeper person of Herod.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's a bunch of Herods. That's what I found.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
the
be
great,
careful. Yeah, right.
the not so great.
Yeah.
But anyway, it wasn't Herod the Great, because Herod the Great was the one that had the babies killed.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
that
it
was
was
not,
like his
yeah.
grandson Herod,
Mm.
that Mary, wife of Cleopas, was the man who directed his estates and knew all this, and that's
Mhm.
why she had money. And Mary
Mm.
was with Jesus. She was a follower, and she was able to follow him because she had the money
That's
from
right.
her
He was
husband.
supportive. Yeah.
And they don't know that, they can't say that Cleopas was actually a follower of Jesus, but
Right.
he was, I guess, okay with it because he let his wife follow. That was pretty interesting
Well,
too.
Yeah.
not to skip ahead, but just even here, it's like on the road, it's one of those.
Is that right? Oh, there you go.
So whether he may not have traveled as much with him, but he still doesn't know that it was their part of the time.
Yeah.
He holds this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
because
yeah.
it did say in the Bible that he's talking to Jesus and the other person who they don't mention.
Yeah.
But he mentioned the fact that our women have told us of these things, but in other words, we're not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus said,
Right.
well, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Why don't you?
I know it. I know. Yeah. It is. Yes. And then we can say Salome, who we think is Mary, Jesus's mother's sister. There are some connections back and forth on that. Well, others that were named Johanna and Susanna and
Right.
but what was interesting I thought was kind of cool was they were called daughters of Jerusalem to the cross,
Mhm.
It's daughters of Jerusalem. Yeah, because they hung out with the guy, the main man. Yeah.
And they probably all related to each other because they had the same purpose, that they loved Jesus and they believed in him and they were faithful to him, and they
Mhm.
showed that. And they were probably, with sisters, you think of somebody who's there for you in thick and thin.
Well, and we try to do that ourselves, right?
Yes, we do.
We try to be um sisters to each other, and we keep trying to work on this program. Not a program, but a sisterhood thing.
Yeah.
And whether it's a group of women, whether it's one on this is.
Mhm.
It's women sharing with women, living life with women. And their focus was Jesus, and that should be our focus as well, is Jesus. You know? Mm-hmm.
They're keeping her accountable and I have a lot of conversations with the teachers and just like you might have with your own best friend.
That's right. Or, your sister. But
Or your
Yeah.
I think that there was an important lesson for all of us to learn, that even though they were all suffering when they saw Jesus and what had happened because they couldn't do anything about it,
Yeah.
but you need to still, whatever pain you're going through, you need to keep your eyes on Jesus.
That's right.
And even when hope seems gone, like they thought everything was gone, he's dead. They put him in the tomb. Now what's going to happen? But something good that comes out of it. There's joy. Just like when Mary Magdalene, Jesus spoke the word to get the 7 demons out, she went from pain to joy.
Yeah.
And when she was at the tomb and she's crying, her pain went to joy when he said Mary.
Yeah.
So she knew that he was alive,
Right.
that everything he said that he would come back, he's
Yeah.
fulfilling that. Yes, he's coming back. So when we go through hard times in life, it's important to know we don't see the end, we don't understand the end, but we know that God is there for us, that he will bring us through for his glory and our good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And we need others to go walk beside us, right? So, there's a couple more things I really wanted to share about some of the other ladies and some like ahas I got, but I don't think we have time, do we?
Fall into any more of this, so we'll have to, well, at the end of it.
All right. We'll see you on the other side.
Okay, bye.